Good morning everybody, welcome to the Unearthed YouTube channel, and today is a very contentious film, all based on digging holes. Who would have ever believed that digging holes causes so much upset in the world of detecting, but believe me, it does. So what we're going to do today, we're going to jump on the quad. I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. I'm going to feed the sheep, so I'm towing my feeder behind the quad. I've got all the detecting gear that I need on the quad and the back of the feeder. There's the detector, there's the gloves, and there's the gimbal. And we're going to set off to some pasture fields a little bit lower down, and at the same time get rid of the sheep because they'll cause merry hell. So keep watching folks, this will be a very, very interesting film. And guess what, the sun's shining, it's 13 degrees, what more could you ask for? Okay. So we're off on our travels folks, and this is really going to be a film based around the do's and don'ts of digging holes. Now, if there's ever what's the word I'm looking for? If there's ever an issue that winds detectorists up, or farmers, landowners, it's pretty much digging holes. So we're just going to make our way gently down to the bottom paddock fields where I do a lot of my detecting testing, and hopefully you'll find this video of some use. It'll be interesting to see how it's received by all you detecting community, and of course I'm just going to get my hands sorted out. There, that's better. And of course, you know, if you wonderful people that watch these YouTube channels have other ideas, please let them please comment on them, I should say, on the thread below this film. You know, it'll be interesting to see. So this is my take on digging holes. I hope it helps, and I hope it doesn't upset anybody, but this is what it's all about, giving advice and guidance. Okay folks, I'll see you on the first hole, as they say. So everybody, we've arrived. Yes, we've arrived trouble free. The sheep are busily eating at the top of the field, so they're going to keep out the way for some time. Because believe me, working with animals and trying to film with animals is a real challenge, shall we say. So what we're going to do today, as I said earlier on the quad, we're going to dig some holes in the field. We're going to get some targets, dig some holes, show how a hole should be dug compared to how it shouldn't be dug. Now there's a lot of people that attend rallies and our organised digs that do make a bit of a mess from time to time. I'm not saying everybody does it, of course, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular, but I've seen holes left out, completely left out. I've seen them turned upside down so the grass is underneath the hole. I've seen them broke into 6 different parts because people are trying to get the targets out of the sod or the clod. And I've seen a whole host of different styles, techniques around digging holes. Some of them are very, very good, and some of them are not so good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how, well, there's two particular holes that I can get away with digging, especially this time of the year, which I'm going to show you now. And when I say get away with, all will become apparent when I show you what I mean. So I've just located a target with a detector. It's always crucial, I think, to wear a decent pair of gloves. If you've got a decent pair of gloves, always make sure you wear them, because when you're digging holes and you try to find the target inside and you're not wearing gloves, a whole host of horrible things could happen. Sharp objects, you get cuts, you can get pieces of glass in the hole, even needles, sharp stones, flints. You know, you're scratching around in a hole, eventually something's going to go wrong if you don't wear decent gloves. Believe me, I used to dig with no gloves way back in the early 80s, late 80s when I was young, daft. A little bit inconsiderate to myself, and I've seen some horror stories out in the field. I've seen some horrendous cuts by bits of glass in the hole. So a decent set of gloves works a treat, saves all that hassle and any potential injuries. So let's go over to the hole. I'm going to dig out a clod to show you how I do it. So the hole, the target's just here. Get me spade. I've pinpointed the target so we know exactly where the target's going to be. And now comes the spade work. So what I do on pasture is I'll dig a three-sided clod. First, 2 stabs there, 2 stabs there, another 2 here. I go back just to free the clod off. I work from the front, put the detector down and just flip it over. Get rid of the soil. Now let's just have a look at this close up, just to see how it looks. That's the sod dug, very simple, 3-sided plug. There's a reason for why we do a 3-sided one. Let's go and take a look. So you've seen me actually physically dig that hole with the spade, and I've done 2 stabs here, 2 there and 2 on this side. I've left that completely, this area here, still attached to the grass. Now the beauty of that is I can get the target out wherever the target is. If it's bang in the middle, which I'm sure it is because I pinpointed it, happy days. How easy is that? Stick the probe in, get the find out, and you move on to the next. But crucially I've seen people leave that just like it is. Now some people do a curved hole. I do more of a square one because it suits my style, but you can do a curve like a semicircle or a 3/4 circle. There will be a technical term for it, guys, but don't beat me up. But I've seen some clods and holes left like that, and people are walking on to carry on detecting. Absolutely disgraceful. So the easy thing is here, that will go in perfectly back into place, and within a day or less you will not be able to see where I've dug. What I do is I can use my hand, I can use my spade. I'm just going to flip it back over, just gently pad down. I'm doing this with one hand, by the way, guys, with the camera, the gimbal. Sure, there's a little bit of mud around that side, but within a day or 2 you will never be able to see that I've been there. Now here's the thing, it's winter, there's a lot of moisture in the ground, okay? A lot of moisture in the ground. These sods will go back in all day long, neatly, no hassle. This mud will wash away in the rain. You will not be able to see that. Even with the animals coming over and chewing, they're not going to be able to pull it up because it's stamped down hard. In the summer, things are a little bit different. Now if I would have dug a sod out or a clod like that and I didn't leave it attached, the dryness of the ground and you putting that clod back in would have just bounced it back up, and within a matter of hours probably that would have been lifting out of the ground and it wouldn't have taken. The clod would have been dry, the ground's bone dry, it almost springs up as you're banging that down with your foot. The clod and the sod is bouncing back up, and with a matter of hours, especially with animals grazing, you're going to get major problems. And the major problems are going to be pretty much that the farmer's going to come along, or the landowner, and see all these holes bouncing back up. Cattle, sheep are going to be pulling them up, leaving them strewn all over the place, and guess what? You lose your permission just because of that. So my thought process on digging in summer pasture is always leave a part of the hole attached. Always leave that back end attached. You don't have to dig it out too deep. If the targets are nice and shallow, okay, targets are nice and shallow, and you know they're going to be nice and shallow by the tones that your detector will indicate how shallow this is. Pinpointing, the tone, everything else that kicks into play. I mean, even some detectors have an overload on them, so you know there's going to be a big surface find right underneath the clod. So you don't really have to ram the spade all the way home. You can actually just go in a few inches and do the same thing. Go in a few inches, just a few inches in, work just gently. I'm only putting that spade in literally a couple of inches. And what you can do then is, I'm making a bit of a hash at this because I'm doing it with one hand, just gently then prise the clod up, so you're not then digging down too deep, if the target's in the clod, you've got to get your pinpointer out. You usually find that you start breaking the clod open, so it's into 4 or 5 sections. So there's a clump here, clump there, and then you've got the job of jigsawing it all back together. That can be very difficult. That makes it look a mess. In the summer, it's almost impossible to make that look neat. So that's just a handy tip. You know, if they are surface finds and you know the surface finds, you know, there's no point in ramming your spade all the way home right to the max. Absolutely no point whatsoever to do that. So again, just gently have a see, you're not being funny or anything, you probably wouldn't even see I've been here. You know, for the naked eye, you know, where was the last hole at? Here. You know, you can't even tell. It's all to do with neatness. Now, it goes a long way, because believe me, a lot of farmers and landowners will come across the fields that you've been detecting on. So let's just have another look at the spades this time. If I can back over now, just getting away from that sun. You know, you moan about the sun when it's not here. Right, so we've had a look at the holes. Spade wise, interesting, because there's many different spades on the market, as we all know. And he's going to put the tripod down. There we go. So there's many different spades on the market, as we all know. Some good, some bad, some a little bit indifferent, I think. Let's just have a look at these two spades that I use personally, and the reason why I use two different spades will come pretty much apparent. So first, we've got this small cheap and cheerful digging spade, which are pretty much standard. You get them in hardware shops. We sell these because they're made by detectorists and they're relatively cheap and cheerful. However, these little spades come into their own when you're detecting on arable land. So if you're on arable land and you know there's going to be a lot of surface finds, and you know, you don't really need a big bulky stainless steel spade carrying around with you, these are perfect when you're kneeling down on the arable land in the late summer, early autumn, or whenever it might be. These come into their own. You're not going to be digging deep holes necessarily. You can just scoop out the find with it in the soil onto the next. Dead easy, really easy. You can use them on pasture, but I wouldn't use these on pasture. And why I wouldn't use them on pasture is because I'm tall, and look at that, I'll be stooping right over. Let me just show you. So if I get a target, I'm going to be stooping way down with this. That isn't going to do the back. That isn't going to do the back any good. You know, it's all right when you're young. You wait till you get to my age. Back's already a problem. So the bigger spade comes into its own on pasture. So you can see the bigger stainless steel spade. I'm upright, get a target. Look at that. My back's straight. I can dig the clod without even stooping down. So easy, so very easy. Now, if you can take these hints and tips into account, chances are you're not going to lose your permission down to the mess that you're making. I think a lot of people forget that they're making a mess. I think they're that enthralled in the detection to get the target out and then walk on to the next one, that they don't really sort of understand that they've got to keep the land and everything about it in good condition. Now, there's also an element of, well, it's not my land, I'm on an organised dig, it's not my permission, somebody else is going to take the flak for it, I don't really care. And if they're not caught, they'll do it time and time again. Believe me, if they're caught on organised digs of ours, they'll get banned. They'll banned off it. There's no question about it, they'll be banned. If we catch them making a mess like that. And believe it or not, we've actually banned quite a few people over the years. They don't get an invite back, so that probably speaks volumes why they haven't been invited back. But there's no excuse for it, I don't think. Why should I take the flak for other people's, you know, laziness? But it's just simple, it's just common sense. So I really do hope that helps. These are going to be a series of detecting sort of hints and tips, advice and guidance. He says I'm slipping actually underneath because it's that bloody muddy and wet. It's like, well, that would have been funny on camera, me slipping on my backside. Quite a few people would have quite enjoyed that, I think. But we are going to do a series of these interesting films, and I hope you watch it and enjoy watching it. Just before I go, I'm going to have a bit of a call out. There's a gentleman out there called Tim Rogers that was a friend of mine. I've met him through, YouTube. I've not heard from him for a while. Tim, are you still out there? Is everything okay? I did see your comment once or twice on some other YouTube videos. I think it might have even been earlier this month, maybe last month. But I've not heard of you for some time, Tim. So get in touch if you can. I could do with a bit of a catch up if I get a chance. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching, and I really do hope that's helped. And subscribe where you can, if you can, and leave a comment or two. Very much appreciated. Thanks for watching.